I've got 6 things to show you guys. That's a good thing that I know that ahead of time. I'm definitely getting into nonfiction a little bit more with this challenge. Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. So I don't know what video this is gonna go into, but I wanted to do a little book haul for you guys because I've been thrifting like a mad woman basically for this Reading Around the World challenge. And I also thought I was really close to finishing all of Joy Harjo's books. I'm finishing all of her work like I did with Chuck Palahniuk for my Chuck Palahniuk video. And then I was looking back on the list where I had written down all of her stuff and was like, I'm like halfway done. I don't know why I thought I was done. So I've got 6 things to show you guys. I already took them out of the wrapping and everything, but I'm going to show you all the Joy Harjo's first because that's 5 of them. And yeah, hopefully you guys will get that video I don't know, within the next month or so. They're all quite slim. So the first one is actually out of print. And this was a classroom copy, I think, because there's like a room number on it, which I think is really cute. It's called The Good Luck Cat. I want to say she wrote it and then, yeah, somebody else illustrated. And this came out a while ago. This is this came out in 2000. So this has been out for a while, but it's in memory of her aunt Lois who passed away, who told her the story of Good Luck Cats. I've never heard the story. I don't know if it's like a Native American thing. I'm excited to see what this one's about. And then the other storybook is so gorgeous. This one is a lot newer because it says U.S. Poet Laureate at the top, which was like a more recent accolade. She's actually been the U.S. Poet Laureate 3 times running. Okay, so the poem that it's based on originally came out in 1983. It was published in She Had Some Horses, which is one of her short story collections that I read a while ago. It was one of the first ones that I read for this challenge, I think. But this actual book and the illustrations came out this year. It's just called Remember. It's so freaking cute inside. It's so pretty, and they're so, the colors are so rich. And so I'm interested to see what it's about. I don't actually remember the poem because, like I said, I read the poetry collection that it was in a couple of years ago now, but it's just so, the actual book matches the jacket, which is cool. And I thought, if I have kids one day, because at first I was like, I'm not gonna buy children's books. I could just go to the library or something, but it'll be cute to kind of start a collection of them. And then the other ones that she has written that I need to read, I think these are the last ones that I need to read for that challenge, and then I can make the video. This is just interviews, a little collection of interviews called The Spiral of Memory. So I'm not sure, I guess it's just her. Poets on Poetry. So it's like a poet interviewing her about her poetry. And then after that one, Soul Talk Song Language. And this was written by her and another writer, but it says Conversations with Joy Harjo. So I think, again, it's kind of like an interview. It's not actual poetry. So it's just kind of I assume it's probably going to be about her writing process and that kind of a thing. This one came out quite a bit later though. It says 2011. So I'm hoping there's not a lot of repeats. And if I have to read the same conversation, it's not a big deal. This is Wings of Night Sky, Wings of Morning Light, and it's a play. I don't know if it's fictionalized. Okay, it says this is a collection that also has essays and interviews in it, detailing the roots and reaches of contemporary Native theater. So Native American theater. So it says in this, hello Guillermo, she blends storytelling, music, movement, and poetic language together, which sounds really interesting. And then she's got interviews with Native theater artists. It's a collection of various people's thoughts and writings. I guess that's why it says a play by Joy Harjo and a circle of responses. She has about 7 books of poetry total, I think, and then 2 memoirs and then various other nonfiction. So once I have these read, I will officially be done with all of her work, at least as it stands right now. She's in her 70s, I think, now. So, hopefully she comes out with some more stuff, but we'll see. And then the last thing was subscriber recommended, so thank you. This is for Hungry, so this will be for my Reading Around the World challenge. for the country of Hungary, and it's The Tragedy of Man. I had to get this really cool cover. Was printed in the 80s. I think it was like 80, did it say 86 or 88? It says printed in Hungary, 1988. So that's pretty cool, because I opened it up and I was like, the pages are so yellow. It just looks old. And it's a very pretty book. Very like controversial in Hungary when it came out. But it's now known as like one of the most prestigious, I guess, or like most known works of Hungarian literature. So it was first published in 1862. It was hailed as a great achievement, but at the same time it gave rise to a multitude of questions. It is also one of the most surprising works in Hungarian. It appeared suddenly from the pen of an unknown author and had no obvious antecedents in the Hungarian literary tradition. I want to say it's like, and it doesn't actually have a blurb on it that tells what it's about, but I want to say it's Adam and Eve have dialogue in here, so they are characters in here. And then I also saw Lucifer. So Lucifer is one of the characters, and it's basically like Adam and Eve, like their excursions out in the world. Knowing that it might be a little tricky to get into is good. That's a good thing that I know that ahead of time. I also just watched a podcast on Dr. Chatterjee's channel with Jim Quick. I think that's his name. And he was talking about, he does like a whole course on like speed reading and comprehension and all of that. And he was giving like a few little tips. And because I have so many books to read, so many books to get through, I'm going to start using some of those tips. So he was saying like, use your finger or a pen to track the lines. Try to have like a soft gaze, meaning don't look at every single word, basically. Like, use your peripheral, and then that way your brain only kind of snags or stops on words that are unfamiliar that you need to like pause and actually pronounce, because there's a lot to get through trying to read a book from every country. So of course you guys will see these in like a monthly wrap up, and I'll let you guys know how I get on with them. Just kidding, I have one more. It literally just arrived. It was sitting outside the door, so perfect chance for me to throw it in to this video. So this was actually a Pinterest recommendation. I know I've talked about this a few times, I think, on my channel, where I've had a book come up in my Pinterest feed, and it be an amazing recommendation. I don't know if Pinterest knows that I'm doing this challenge, but it has been. I think it might have heard me talking about it. I'm sure like my phone is picking up me saying, you know, like, oh, I'm reading a book from every country, because I've said that so many times in like different videos. And so it's starting to recommend books from other countries to me, which I'm totally fine with because I need recommendations. But the cover is what got me on this one. So this is Silence is My Mother Tongue by Suleiman Adanya. I'm not sure if that is the correct way to say that. I don't know, it just looked really interesting, and that title, I wanted to know what that title meant, because there's obviously something there. There's a story there. And so this will be for the country of Eritrea, which I believe is an African country. I don't know that I'd even heard of it before I started doing research for this challenge. And anyway, this is a memoir, I believe. And the novelist fled the country as a child with his mother and his siblings following a massacre that happened there in 1976. So I assume I'm going to find out a little bit about that. And then he spent his early life in a refugee camp in Sudan. I believe he resides in London currently. And so anyway, it's not too long. It's been a little bit since I read a memoir, and I'm definitely getting into nonfiction a little bit more with this challenge. I'm not going to read like only memoirs or only nonfiction books for all the countries that I'm reading for, but it is nice to have a memoir or an autobiography or something, because it does really give me a pretty accurate depiction, even though it's just through an individual's eyes, of what it might be like to live in that country. So the title and the cover definitely intrigued me. I feel like that's true for most books anyway. We're kind of like devouring them with our eyes first, just like with food. I'm definitely like that. Like if it doesn't look good, I don't want to eat it. So if it doesn't look intriguing, I don't want to read it. I'm definitely someone who judges books by their covers. I know I shouldn't, but I'm definitely guilty of that. I mean, it sounds like it's probably going to be pretty intense and maybe sad, I would imagine, but I am very curious. So I hope to get to this one. I'm going to say early September, because I'm nearly done with Magdalena. which is for Colombia. So that one's a longer one. It's like maybe like 400 something pages. So I think once I cross Colombia off the list, Eritrea will be next. Alright guys, that is all I have for you. I'm just gonna chill for the rest of the night. Definitely leave me recommendations, as always, like I say in every video. Leave me recommendations for books that you like, that you would recommend me, that were published in another country, in another language, and then translated into English. You guys have been... The comments section in part 1 of my Reading Around the World Challenge video that will eventually become a series has been popping off for the last couple of weeks with so many good recommendations. I've started a spreadsheet just to keep everything organized, and I appreciate all of your amazing recommendations. And Pinterest is giving me some good recs too. So I'm excited for part 2. That is coming hopefully within the next couple of weeks, because I have not quite 10, maybe like 7 or 8, something like that, new books that I have read. So it's time for another video. It's time for a part 2. Stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.